Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamine Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschata Desatarine Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Come on, all of you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Rama, Rama Rama,
Ram
Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama,
Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama
Ram
Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Yes. Can you see the screen? Kavita, yes, you raised your hand. You can read 3 paras, and then whoever raises hand can read three paras. You don't have to ask me. So Vidyadhara liberated and the demon Sakkachuda killed. So yes, start.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Once upon a time, the cowherd men of Vrindavana, headed by Nanda Maharaja, decided to go to Ambikavana to observe the Shivaratri ceremony. The Rasa Leela was performed during the autumn, and after that, the next big ceremony is Holi, or the Dolayatra ceremony. Between the Dolayatra ceremony and the Rasa Leela ceremony, there is an important ceremony called Shivaratri, which is especially observed by the Shaivites or devotees of Lord Shiva. Sometimes the Vaishnavas also observe this ceremony because they accept Lord Shiva as the foremost Vaishnava. But the function of Shivaratri is not observed very regularly by the bhaktas or devotees of Krishna. Under the circumstances, Srimad Bhagavatam states that Nanda Maharaja and other cowherd men once upon a time desired. This means that they were not regularly observing the Shivaratri function, but that once upon a time they wanted to go to Ambikavana out of curiosity. Ambikavana is somewhere in Gujarat province, and it is said to be situated on the river Saraswati. Yet we do not find any Saraswati river in Gujarat province, although there is a river named Savarmati. In India, all the big places of pilgrimage are situated on nice rivers like the Ganges, Yamuna, Saraswati, Narmada, Godavari, and Kaveri. Ambikavana was situated on the bank of Saraswati, and Nanda Maharaja and all other cowherd men went there. They very devotedly began to worship the deity of Lord Shiva and Ambika. It is a general practice that wherever there is a temple of Lord Shiva, there must be another temple of Ambika or Durga, because Ambika is the wife of Lord Shiva and is the most exalted of chaste women. She doesn't live outside the association of her husband. After reaching Ambikavana, the cowherd men of Vrindavana first bathe themselves in the river Saraswati. If one goes to any place of pilgrimage, his first duty to take a bath and sometimes to shave his head. This is the first business. After taking a bath, they worship the deities and then distributed charity in the holy places. According to the Vedic system,
just 1 second, you can continue. Let me just quickly tell this. So what they're talking about are the cowherd men, right? In Vrindavan, obviously Maharaj is Nand Maharaj. They wanted to go to Ambikavada, right? So because Shivaratri is a night where they will fast by not sleeping, right? So overnight they will not sleep, and largely followed by Shaivites, but we all know Aradharam Tam Shimbu, right? So of all the, of all the Vaishnavas, Shiva is an exalted Vaishnava, right? So there is something called Dol Yatra. So you know that. And Rasa Leela ceremony, this Shivaratri is coming. So it comes somewhere in between. And Srimad Bhagavatam also, they are talking about, what happened at that time. So what happens typically, okay, the name Saraswati River actually is more from our way of speaking, because it is, we use the word Saraswati, right? But we don't actually have that. There is only something called Savarmati, right? So all the places of pilgrimage, you will have all these names. And what does one do? When they go to pilgrimage, they take bath, right? And then they continue. So that's the foremost. And wherever Shiva temple is there, we will also have Ambika's temple. Yeah, please go ahead, ma. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. They very devotedly began to worship the deity of Lord Shiva and Ambika. It is a general practice that wherever there is a temple of Lord Shiva, there must be another temple of Ambika or Durga, because Ambika is the wife of Lord Shiva and is the most exalted of chaste women. She doesn't live outside the association of her husband. After reaching Ambikavana, the cowherd men of Vrindavana first bathe themselves in the river Saraswati. If one goes to any place of pilgrimage, his first duty is to take bath and sometimes to shave his head. This is the first business. After taking a bath, they worship the deities and then distributed charity in holy places. According to the Vedic system, charity is given to the Brahmanas. It is a state of the Vedic Sastras that only the Brahmanas and the Sannyasis can accept charity. The cowherd men from Vrindavana gave the Brahmanas cows decorated with golden ornaments and beautiful garlands. The Brahmanas are given charity because they are not engaged in any business profession. They are supposed to be engaged in Brahmanical occupations as described in the Bhagavad Gita. Namely, they must be very learned and must perform austerity and penances. Not only must they themselves be learned, but they must also teach others. Brahmanas are not meant to be Brahmanas alone. They should create other Brahmanas also. If a man is found who agrees to become a Brahmana's disciple, he is also given the chance to become a Brahmana. The Brahmana is always engaged in the worship of Lord Vishnu. Therefore, the Brahmanas are eligible to accept all kinds of charity. But if the Brahmanas receive excessive charity, they are to distribute it for the service of Vishnu. In the Vedic scriptures, therefore, one is recommended to give charity to the Brahmanas, and by so doing, one pleases Lord Vishnu and all the demigods. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So very clearly, whatever, we have this Mahaprasade Govinde, Namah Brahmana Vaishnave, Swalpa Punya Vritam Rajam, Vishwasenaiva Jayate, means you'll never be born if you consider all four as equal, right? And that Brahman also, right? What do we also pray when we pray Krishna? Do you remember the prayers for Krishna? For when we offer prasad? Does anyone remember? Oh. So silent, I'm waiting. Namo
Yes,
Brahmanya
Mataji,
Devaya.
remember.
Go Brahmanya
Mahaprasade
Hidayasya.
Govind.
Yeah, Jagatitaya
Jagatitaya
Krishnaya
Krishnaya
Govindaya
Govindaya.
Namah. So that means Brahmin, right? The Brahmin priestly people pray Krishna, and Krishna is very dear to both Brahmanas. So there is also a thing that Krishna eats through the Brahmin's mouth, right? So therefore, Brahmins are always eligible to accept the charity. But if the Brahmins have too much charity, what they will do? They will distribute it. They will not retain it in the locker the way currently it's happening. Yes, Prabhu, you can start. Three. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. 3 paras, yeah.
The pilgrims take a bath, worship the deity, and give charity. They are also recommended to fast one day. They should go to a place of pilgrimage and stay there for at least 3 days. The first day is spent fasting, and at night they can drink a little water because water does not break the fast. The cowherd men, headed by Nanda Maharaj, spent that night on the banks of the Saraswati. They fasted all day and drank a little water at night. But while they were taking rest, a great serpent from the nearby forest appeared before them and hungrily began to swallow up Nanda Maharaj. Nanda cried out helplessly, "My dear son, Krishna, please come and save me from this danger. This serpent is swallowing me." When Nanda Maharaj cried for help, all the cowherd men got up and saw what was happening. They immediately took up burning logs and began to beat the snake to kill it. But in spite of being beaten with burning logs, the serpent was not about to give up swallowing Nanda Maharaj. At that time, Krishna appeared on the scene and touched the serpent with his lotus feet. Immediately upon being touched by the lotus feet of Krishna, the serpent spent its reptilian body and appeared as a very beautiful demigod named Vidyadhara. His bodily features were so beautiful that he appeared to be worshipable. There was a luster and effulgence emanating from his body, and he was garlanded with a gold necklace. He offered obeisances to Lord Krishna and stood before him with great humility. Krishna then asked the demigods, "You appear to be very nice demigod and to be favored by the goddess of fortune. How is it that you perform such abominable activities that you got the body of a serpent?" The demigod then began to narrate the story of his previous life.
Yeah, so most
Hare
of this are curses. Yes, bro. Most of these are cursed, right? So they come and these swallows, and obviously of when Krishna touching, the person gets liberated. So who's going to go next?
Mataji, may I do?
Yes, dear. Just one second. I just want to see how big this is. Okay, I think we should be able to complete. Let's try. Yeah, go ahead.
May I
Hare
go for
Krishna.
it?
Yes, dear.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
And whoever wants to read after, please
Everybody?
have your hands raised. Yeah, go ahead. You start.
My dear Lord, he said, in my previous life, I was named Vidyadhara and was known all over the world for my beauty. Because I was a celebrated personality, I used to travel all over in my airplane. While traveling, I saw a great sage named Angira. He was very ugly, and because I was very proud of my beauty, I laughed at him. Due to this sinful act, I was condemned by the great sage to assume the form of a serpent. One should not note here that before being favored by Krishna, a person is always under the mode of material nature. However elevated he may be materially, Vidyadhara was a materially elevated demigod and he was very beautiful. He also held a great material position and was able to travel all over by airplane. Yet he was condemned to become a serpent in his next life. Any materially elevated person can be condemned to an abominable species of life if he is not careful. It is a misconception that after reaching the human body, one is never degraded. Vidyadhara himself stated that even though he was a demigod, he was condemned to become a serpent. But because he was touched by the lotus feet of Krishna, he immediately came to Krishna consciousness. He admitted, however, that in his previous life he was actually sinful. A Krishna conscious person knows that he is always the servant of Krishna. He is most insignificant, and whatever good he does is by the grace of Krishna and the spiritual master. Patanjali, should I go for the another third
Yeah,
para?
you can go. You can go, Ma. So we've already read, right? Yeah, you can go for the next para. So basically, though he was very handsome and beautiful, but they always say Shruti Shribir. So basically, if you have money, if you have beauty, if you have one of the 6 appearances or all of it, the chances of fall down is very high. So which is why they say it's a blessing in disguise, but it's also a curse because it can hit you back. Yeah, continue, dear. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, yes, Mataji. The demigod Vidyadhara continued to speak to Sri Krishna because I was very proud of the exquisite beauty of my body. He said, I derided the ugly features of the great sage Angira. He cursed me for my sin, and I had become a snake. Now I considered that this curse by the sage was not at all a curse. It was a great benediction for me. Had he not cursed me, I would not have assumed the body of a serpent, and would not have been kicked by your lotus feet, and thus freed from all material contamination. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you so much. Who's going to go next? So this is why they say, you should not curse. And when great sages curse, including Narad, can you tell me an incident of Narad cursing somebody, which appears as a curse externally, but internally it's a blessing? We've already read. Do you all recall? Or any great sage cursing and it's a blessing? Can't remember? Damodar Leela? Yeah, it's a curse, right? But just imagine, he is there, they are witnessing, the 2 Ashoka trees are witnessing the pastimes of Krishna ever since he's born. What a blessing, right? So that is the situation. That is why they say the curse of the great Vaishnavas is also a blessing. Hare Krishna. Yeah, please go ahead and read.
Hare Krishna. In material existence, 4 things are very valuable: to be born in a decent family, to be very rich, to be very learned, and to be very beautiful. These are considered to be material assets. Unfortunately, without Krishna consciousness, these material assets sometimes become sources of sin and degradation. Despite Vidyadhara's being a demigod and having a beautiful body, he was condemned to the body of a snake due to pride. Therefore, from this incident, we can learn that those who are too proud of their material assets or who are inimical towards others are degraded to the bodies of snakes. A snake is considered to be most cruel and envious living entity. But those who are human beings and are envious of others are considered to be even more vicious than snakes. The snake can be charmed or controlled by mantras and herbs, but a person who is envious cannot be controlled by anyone. My dear Lord, Vidyadhara continued, now since I think I have become freed from all kinds of sinful activities, I am asking your permission to return to my abode, the heavenly planets. This request indicates that persons who are attached to fictive activities, desiring promotion to the comforts of higher planetary systems, cannot achieve their ultimate goal of life without the sanction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is also stated in the Bhagavad Gita that the less intelligent want to achieve material benefits and therefore worship different kinds of demigods, but that they actually get the benedictions from the demigods through the permission of Lord Vishnu or Krishna. Demigods have no power to bestow material profit. Even if one is attached to material benedictions, he should worship Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and ask him. Krishna is completely able to give even material benedictions. There is a difference, however, between asking material benedictions from the demigods and asking them from Krishna. Dhruva Maharaj worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead for a material benediction, but when he actually achieved the favor of the Supreme Lord and saw him, he was so satisfied that he refused to accept any material benediction. The intelligent person does not worship the demigods or ask favors from them. He directly becomes Krishna conscious, and if he has any desire for material benefit, he asks Krishna, not the demigods. Hare
Hare Krishna. So it's very important. If see, we have 4 types of people, which we have read in the 7th chapter. Does anyone remember what are the 4 types of people who approach Krishna? You'll be in one of the categories. All of us.
Distressed, in need of money.
Yeah. Artha, Jignasha.
Distressed, need of money.
Yeah.
Knowledge,
He is
wanting
fond
knowledge.
of power,
Two,
knowledge.
correct. Artha, Jignashu, and Jnani. Very beautiful. So, which category does Dhruva come under? Artha,
Material
because
power.
yeah,
Money,
basically
money.
money. Yeah. So basically what they're telling, everybody comes under one of the categories. So coming in back to this, the intelligent people, go to not so intelligent people worship the demigod. But even if you want things like money and material things, go to Krishna. Because Krishna will give, but when he is giving, he will do the purification. Dhruva had the entire world, he got extra, he got the polar planet also, right? He is still there. That's called Dhruva Natchatra. But he got purified as well. So that is very important. Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Shall I continue?
1 second. Does anybody who has not read would like to read? Otherwise, Prabhu, you can continue. Anybody wants to read, please have your hand raised. Yes, Prabhu, please continue.
Vidyadhara, awaiting Krishna's permission to return to the heavenly planet, said, no, because I have been touched by your lotus feet, I am relieved of all kinds of material pangs. You are the most powerful of all mystics. You are the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are the master of all devotees. You are the proprietor of all planetary systems, and therefore I am asking your permission. You may accept me as fully surrendered unto you. I know very well that persons who are constantly engaged in chanting your holy name attain release from all sinful reactions. And certainly persons who are fortunate enough to be personally touched by your lotus feet are freed. Therefore, I am sure that I am now relieved of the curse of the Brahmana simply by seeing you and being touched by your lotus feet.
Hare Krishna. So they're talking about how powerful it is, right? Even the curse becomes a blessing because Krishna touches, it is so nice. Yes, Prabhu, please continue. And anybody else wants to repeat reading also? Yeah, okay. Chitra Mataji. Okay, we'll give it to her. Chitra Mataji, you can start.
Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
In this way, Vidyadhara got permission from Lord Krishna to return to his home in the higher planetary system. After receiving this permission, he circumambulated the Lord and offered us respectful obeisances to him, and then he returned to his heavenly planet. Thus, Nanda Maharaj was relieved of the imminent danger of being devoured by the snake. The coward men who had come to execute the ritualistic function of Lord Shiva and Ambika finished their business and prepared to return to Vrindavana. While returning, they recalled the wonderful activities by Krishna. By relating the incident of Vidyadhara's deliverance, they became more attached to Krishna. They had come to worship Lord Shiva and Ambika, but the result was that they became more and more attached to Krishna. Similarly, the gopis worshipped goddess Katyayani to become more and more attached to Krishna. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita that persons who are attaching to worship demigods like Lord Brahma, Shiva, Indra, and Chandra for some personal benefit are less intelligent and have forgotten the real purpose of life. But the coward men, inhabitants of Vrindavana, were no ordinary men. Whatever they did, and whatever they did for Krishna, if one worshipped demigods like Shiva and Lord Brahma to become more attached to Krishna, that is approved. But if one goes to the demigods for some personal benefit, that is condemned. Mataji, I'll continue.
Yes, dear, continue. Just
After,
yeah, 2 more paras, continue. Anybody else wants to read who's not read can raise their hand, but otherwise you continue. Thank you.
yes, Mataji. After this incident, on a very pleasant night, Krishna and his elder brother Balrama, who were inconceivably powerful, went into the forest of Vrindavana. They were accompanied by the damsels of Rajabhumi, and they began to enjoy their company. The young damsels of Raja were very nicely dressed and anointed with pulp of sandalwood and decorated with flowers. The moon was shining in the sky, surrounded by glittering stars. The breeze was blowing, bearing the aroma of Mallika flowers, and the bumblebees were mad after the aroma. Taking advantage of the pleasing atmosphere, Krishna and Balrama began to sing very melodiously. The damsels became so absorbed in their rhythmical song that they almost forgot themselves. The hair loosened, their clothes slackened, and their garlands began to fall to the ground. Continue, Mataji.
Yeah, just 1 second. Yeah, you can continue. But anybody wants to read the last para, if they're not read so far, you can tell me. Otherwise, you can continue. Just 1 second. So what they are talking about is Vidyadhara actually returned to his heavenly planet. Now, we'll be questioning, telling these gopis were playing, Karthikayani, and also many of them pray Lord Shiva. Even us, right? We as Vaishnavites respect Brahma, Shiva, all of them, because they are Vaishnavas, right? So, so why is all this happening? Is because even though they are praying other gods, what are they praying for? Because they are praying for love of Krishna, right? Even the entire time when they were praying any lord, their mind was towards Shiva. So that is very important. Going back to Rukmini, when she prayed as well to the Shiva temple, she was having Krishna in mind. So that is a very important point. Very nicely, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. At that time, while Krishna, Balrama, and the damsels were so much absorbed, almost in madness, a demonic associate of Kuvera, the treasury of the heavenly planets, appeared on the scene. The demon's name was Shankachuda because on his head there was a valuable jewel resembling a conch shell. Just as the two sons of Kuvera had been puffed up over their wealth and opulence, and did not care for Narada Muni's presence, this Shankachuda was also puffed up over material opulence. He thought that Krishna and Balrama were two ordinary covered boys enjoying the company of many beautiful girls. Generally, in the material world, a person with riches thinks that all beautiful women should be enjoyed by him. Shankachuda also thought that since he belonged to rich community of Kuvera, he, not Krishna and Balrama, should enjoy the company of so many beautiful girls. He therefore decided to take charge of them. He appeared before Krishna, Balrama, and the damsels of Braja and began to lead the girls away to the north. He commanded them as if he were their proprietor and husband, despite the presence of Krishna and Balrama. Being forcibly taken away by Shankachuda, the damsels of Braja called out names of Krishna and Balrama for protection. The two brothers immediately began to follow them, taking up big logs of shala wood in their hands. Don't be afraid, don't be afraid. They called to the gopis. We are coming at once to chastise this demon. Very quickly they reached Shankachuda, thinking the brothers too powerful. Shankachuda left the company of the gopis and ran in fear for his life. But Krishna would not let them go. He entrusted the gopi to the care of Balrama and followed Shankachuda where he fled. Krishna wanted to take a valuable gel resembling the conch shell from the head of the demon. After following him at a very short distance, Krishna caught him, struck his head with his fist and killed him. Then he took the valuable jewel and returned. In the presence of all the damsels of Brija, he presented the valuable jewel to his elder brother Balarama. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport of the 34th chapter.
Sorry.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Of the 34th chapter, right?
Yes.
Vidyadhara liberated and the demon Sankachuda killed. Such a beautiful story, right? So that is why all are equal. Now Sankachuda is the golden conch shell which is there on the head. So he wants to take it. And what does he do? He is very sweet. Krishna is gifting it to Balaram. So that is why. So whatever Krishna does, all the activities are always keeping somebody else in mind. He never thinks he needs it because he's the owner of all that, right? Thank you so much. It's very nice that all of you many of you wanted to re-participate. Would request others also to participate and try and get people. Tomorrow we're going to have this very important chapter called the Gopi's Feeling of Separation, which is also called Vipralamba Bhav, right? So with this,
one for this Katyayani temple, is it in Guwahati? Is the same one?
I am not very sure, Prabhu, but because it says Vrindavan only, no, here.
Achha, Vrindavan.
So that's why I'm sure there are a lot of temples. Katyayani temple is there in many places. But here, from what I have read, I think I can understand that's the one in Vrindavan.
Yeah,
because
maybe.
the girls are coming alone, no? They are not coming with family. So that means it's not very far from home.
Yes. Yes, thank you, Mother.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanan pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Anantakoti Vaishnav Jai Srila Prabhupada Jai Namacharya Haridas Thakur Jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Thank you.